Hello everyone, my name is Sergei Jidelev, and today I'll be talking about my restaurant management app. So, restaurants have become this interesting thing where it's a mishmash of old technologies and new technologies, and now they're being forced in the digital age, and these technologies are mixing and it's causing a ton of inefficiencies. Restaurants are losing a ton of money. So what we're going to cover, I'm going to introduce you to restaurants, how they make money. I'm going to introduce restaurant inventory management, scheduling, technology in restaurants, third-party delivery apps, and this is an important topic because third-party deliveries kind of caused a lot of inefficiencies. And I'm going to offer my recommendations at the end and some references in case you want to check those out as well. So, how do restaurants make profit? Well, like any business, it's primarily through markup. Fast food places make it primarily through drinks because to pour a drink is less than a third of a penny, while more full service restaurants make it through food and alcohol. I'm going to be focusing on full service restaurants because that's kind of where my experience is. And even with these insane markups, the average restaurant has a 2.7% profit margin. With restaurants that are losing money, that are going to go out of business, it's negative 2.4%. And restaurants that are doing well are 7%. And the reason that this is on the lower side is because the 7% profit margin is very rare and very hard to achieve. Now, inventory management. A lot of restaurants lose money through expired product, especially corporate restaurants. There's strict guidelines where even if something looks good, you got to throw it out if it's past its shelf life. Um, and also, another more obscure way restaurants lose money is not having enough product, especially during dinner service where you're supposed to make most of your money. If you're out of something and a person's looking for something specific, they leave. And during dinner service, people come in pairs or in groups of four. So I've actually had a couple leave on me because we didn't have something. So that's two sales lost right there. One study actually showed that if you use continuous inventory management as opposed to periodic inventory management, you could save 12% on your food budget. Scheduling is another place where restaurants could save money. Number one, overstaffing. This leads to unhappy staff, and they're fighting over tables and not making enough money. Understaffing is even worse because this leads to unhappy customers. Customers have to wait for food, customers have to wait to be sat, wait for drinks. Don't want unhappy customers. That leads to bad press. And improper staffing is an issue too. If you have a weak person on a, or maybe they're training on a busy day, you don't want that. Now, let's just do some quick math about staffing. Let's say it's slow between 2 and 4 p.m. You've got two people on the floor, it's a host and a server. Next server is on at 4 p.m. If you add their wages, multiply it by 365, let's say they're working every day. That equates to $9,500 that could be saved. If you had maybe a strong bartender that could take tables, then don't need a host and a server. And our app offers to do that. Now, tech in restaurants, we've got a POS system, a inventory system, a scheduling system. They're not connected in any way, and this leads to errors all over the place. Now you're inputting something into your POS, you forgot to input it into your inventory. Nobody gets notified that you're low on something. You want those systems to be all integrated. Lots of chefs and owners don't want to change, but the customer is always right, and the customer wants to use their phone. According to a study done in 2012, customers are more than happy to order through their phone, get a pizza, and be on their way. Third-party delivery. Skip the Dishes, Foodora, Uber Eats. They're putting a ton of pressure on restaurants to use their app, and also restaurants that don't want to use their app will lose out on a lot of business because that seems to be where the market is going. The amount of orders placed online is increasing because more people have access to apps, more people have access to cell phones, and it looks like it'll continue to increase. Also, the likelihood of using an integrated restaurant app is fairly low. People like using Skip the Dishes because all of their favorite restaurants are on there. They don't want to use a specific restaurant app. They'll just go to Skip. They'll go to Uber Eats. Now, this causes issues. You see, they're not connected to the POS and they require manual input. This causes mistakes and unhappy customers. It takes time. And also you've got four different tablets, one for Skip, one for Uber Eats, one's for Foodora. All of them have different UIs. So if you're like out of something, you have to input it four different times into four different systems. It's a complete mess. My recommendation is an all-in-one integrated restaurant app that's integrated with all of these systems. So you don't need to mess around with a bunch of different apps. It's just this one. You just input what you want and it works. For starters, inventory will send notifications if the chef is low on something. So it's not you're out of something. Oh, oops, gotta let the servers know. No, you'll know in advance. You'll know when you need to order more. And it'll give predictions based on what last year's sales were like on what you should order more of. And it'll help with keeping track of food costs and previous spending just so you know, just so you have a reference for what last week's spending was or last year's spending is. Also, the third-party delivery will be integrated. Now that removes all human error and removes inventory when needed. So if, say you've got a big order through Skip the Dishes, then your inventory is going to be deducted and you'll know that you need to order more of something. And it allows the employees to focus on the customers instead of dealing with three different delivery apps. And for scheduling, there'll be event predictions. You'll be able to add weights to your staff so you'll know who's strong, who can take a busy shift, and who's weak, who needs to be on slower shifts, who needs to be on lunch shifts. And this will save in labor costs because it'll put strong people on during slower times. So everybody can just go home and you just need one strong person. Keeps the customers happy, keeps the employees happy. This system will save a ton of money. It'll help struggling restaurants stay afloat and it'll help small businesses. It'll reduce waste, which is good for the environment, and it'll improve the overall restaurant structure. It'll help every customer have a better service and better quality experience in restaurants. That's why I think this app is important because it'll just improve everything. Here are my sources that I got the information off of. And I'd like you to seriously consider, now that you know a little bit more about restaurants, how much this app would help. There are a lot of industries that have similar apps to this where it's just one app and they can do everything. And I think the restaurant industry could seriously benefit from something like that. Thank you.